Hi there, and welcome to the second episode of Mossbury, a Talkthrough series, where I share my thoughts as the settlement expands. We finished the previous episode by placing a small graveyard to the northwest of our town center. I marked some additional stone resources for harvesting, just to ensure my workers have enough resources to build with. Now that it is winter, I can see through the canopy, and want to reposition the sawmill site. Although it doesn't seem to matter if the front of a building is blocked by another. It just looks weird, and makes it harder to get invested in the settlement's layout. That's better. With enough food being generated, and more shelters approaching completion, I decide to start adding some roads. This is as much about defining the layout, as it is increasing foot speed and efficiency. I am not sure if it is because of changes mentioned in the previous patch notes, but I feel like it is much harder to get the more organic and curved road shapes anymore. I guess maybe this suits the more grid-focused builders, but I don't really know. Has it changed? Or am I misremembering how you could generate more organic road shapes? Let me know in the comments section if you are also noticing this. Here I am referencing my sketch of the central gardens, to build up the shapes I intend to later fill with decorative assets. I am building some of the roads that also aid my settlers in getting from the eastern more residential zone, to the western industrial zone, and graveyard. Moving the storage cart to a more residentially focused area of the settlement. Inside the stockyard feels like a fitting spot, at least for the time being. These parallel roads were always part of the design, but I should have realized when placing this second road that these shelters are much closer to this central channel than were originally intended. So I will either need to work around the new distances, or relocate some houses to be more in line with the original design. Whenever I start a new build, it is not long before I have multiple ideas and layouts for my next settlement. With this in mind, I aim to hit specific goals in these walkthrough series, before moving on to the next settlement. For Mossbury, it will be to build up the town center gardens, which may mean pushing into Tier 4, but if I feel I have achieved the desired effect with lower tier structures, then I will be moving on to the next build. The footage is sped up here, but I am waiting on construction projects, and make some profession checks, to get a feel for the workforce numbers. Also a quick check to see how the crop field quality is holding up. 7 newcomers join our little settlement. This will give a boost to production speeds, but will also require additional food. Work begins on the second mirrored crop field. Finally, I notice I have placed an extra root cellar, and cancelled the second just before completion. As I begin expanding more residential structures to the east, I decide to move the well to a more relatively central position. The surrounding trees feel like a fitting location, and will provide a small water retention bonus. Making small adjustments to production limits of the firewood splitter. These production limits are great, but if forgotten, can easily have you falling behind population growth. A little slower than my average playthrough, but we are finally in a position to place a market. I have sped this footage up, as I take a very long time deciding where to place the market, considering both coverage and layout. Eventually deciding to prioritize this more commercial area, with the idea of potentially building a second market to cater for the villagers to the north. More production limits, this time for the sawmill. Although we are a ways off of overproducing planks, I am aware of this wood production area being a little out of sight. So I feel this is a worthy fail-safe. The second crop field is now complete, time to schedule some more preparation rotations. I decide now is a good time to start expanding the dirt road guidelines, while also connecting the westerly end of the settlement to the eastern end. I check in on the first crop field, and can see that the weed level and rockiness have both almost been removed. Now to grow some edible crops, while either maintaining or improving the field fertility. I have a separate crop farming guide video which you can find either through the on-screen link, or via the channel's tutorial playlist. I will occasionally share some of my thought process behind crop choices in these series. But if you want a more detailed explanation, be sure to check out the guide videos. With the first marketplace nearing completion, and gradually expanding our population to meet the Tier 2 upgrade for our town center, this brings us to the end of this episode. I have been enjoying a less pre-planned settlement recently, so may well be sharing that as a Talkthrough series soon. Thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing. See you soon for more Farthest Frontier content.